Hey guys, Michael here, back with another little bit of Brian Harpole's interview with Sean Ryan. Every time I watch this, I just find things about it that I'm just like more and more confused by. In this clip, well, let's just hop into it. I'm gonna play you the clip.
When a bubble team is there, we're not using hand signals. Sniper details, absolutely. Why? Because you can see that. Are we looking around at each other looking for hand signals? We're looking at in the front in our area of responsibility. If we needed to relay a message, then we would, hey, right here on comms. Right? And or we're notorious for, if I need to get somebody's attention on the team, I'm not going to sit there and use a hand signal if he's in my line of sight. I'm just going to go like that. He's going to look up and I'm going to go. Mm-hmm. And so if I looked up and did a hand signal on the team and did that or that, he's going to look at me like, so what do you want me to do then? Mm-hmm. Right. So for that's not good communication. It has to be definitive. It has to be necessary.
It could be an acknowledgement.
Absolutely.
I mean,
yep. Receipt.
Get me out of here.
Yep. You're right. Absolutely. Yeah. And what you're doing there is deliberate. Yeah, these are deliberate.
You know?
Yeah. So, no, we don't use hand signals on that one. We didn't use hand signals that day. We've never used hand signals other than the general ones. Here, two people. Here. You know, none of.
Okay, I mean, this is wild to me. Let me show you guys some videos from that day. He says that we didn't use hand signals that day, right? I heard him say that. We don't use hand signals unless there's a sniper involved. Weird. Okay. So this is Brian Harpole at the event.
Have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
Too many.
I think this is Frank Turek. And this is Dan Flood.
Okay, now 5 is a lot, right? I'm gonna give you some credit. Do you know how
Are you guys able to see my cursor?
many mass shooters there have been
Yeah, so that's Frank Turek.
over the last 10 years?
Counting or not
And this is Dan Flood. Watch his, that's clearly a hand signal.
violence.
Great.
And he does it right before the shot.
Too many.
Watch Dan Flood give the hand signal just before the shot.
Okay, now 5 is a lot, right? I'm gonna give you some credit. Do you know how
And you could argue that's a hand
many
signal.
mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence.
Great.
Boom.
Mass shooters
Okay.
over the last 10 years?
Too many.
So when Brian Harpole here says we didn't use hand signals that day. I don't know. Did you not watch the tape? I don't know what to make of that. What's very interesting about this is at the same time that Dan Flood is making that hand signal, Rick Cutler. Some people claim he has a palm gun. I don't know that I necessarily believe that. Possible, I suppose. I'm more in the exploding microphone camp or shaped charge of some kind of explosion camp. That's the camp I'm currently in. But at the same time that Dan Flood makes that motion with his hand, let me make sure I have this pulled up for you guys so you can see it. We have Rick Cutler here. Right before the shot, he has his arm up. Here's what he's doing. Boom. And it's at the exact same time that Dan Flood is doing his thing. Ignore the palm pistol text. I mean, we don't know that for sure. I don't know. I think it's really interesting. I think it's really interesting. I think it's really interesting that Brian Harpole would say that we don't use hand signals unless there's a sniper involved. My thought is, if you wanted to mask the sound of an explosion at the front, and you wanted to have a patsy, a Tyler Robinson that you could blame, you would put him up on the roof. And you would have him fire a blank round to create the gunfire sound, while a more effective and surefire execution was unfolding up front in Charlie's direct vicinity, possibly under his shirt. Maybe we should watch some more of Brian's interview.
None of that was done. None of that was done. You had Frank Turek and people messing with him because he adjusted his hat. It's like, okay, and substantiate. All right, so he touched his hat. There were a line of people in the front and all other people that also did all kind of things before that. It's like everybody's subject to that. I get it.
He's saying everybody made hand signals is kind of what he's saying. Listen, we were all doing stuff like that. They weren't hand signals though. I mean, it's as if he hasn't seen the footage. I think my dog is asleep. He's growling in his sleep.
It, man, I'm a huge, and I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, but I do believe that there are things out there bigger than you and I that are in operations. It's a fact. I also am a huge believer in the First Amendment. And so these people that are out there saying all this, back up, why is the First Amendment so important? Because back in the day when our founding fathers said, man, why do we need this amendment first? And because a voice is an arms for people that don't have arms. That's what it was for. It was a collective or a single voice could be powerful to a hierarchy of people that can't be conquered with an arm. So we have to have this voice, and we have to protect this voice at all costs. And they said, and they wanted us to have that. And that's why they put it first. And it should be used as a shield. Well, nowadays with the media and now social media, that right has been used as a sword. And the sword of public opinion. It's like, hey, well, let's just put a bunch of lies out there and claim First Amendment. And we can say whatever we want.
I mean, we saw the hand signals, though. This guy's talking about the First Amendment, and you shouldn't be able to say that they were doing hand signals when they weren't doing hand signals, but we saw the hand signals. What was Dan Flood doing? Did you ask Dan? Hey, Dan, what was that hand signal? I went on Sean Ryan's show, and I said, we didn't do any hand signals. And then this guy, Michael, and a whole bunch of other YouTubers got online and said, yeah, you did. And now I look dumb, Dan. What was that hand signal about? Looked like you were signaling to someone in the back. What was that? Were you signaling to the person on the roof, Dan? Rick Cutler, what were you doing? What was packed up your sleeve? What was that giant thing shoved in your sleeve? It looked uncomfortable. You always shove stuff in your sleeve like that? Is that mints? Is that mints, Rick? Got a box of mints in there, Rick?
What a collective or a single voice could be powerful. And the way back machine is media and now social media. That right has been used as a sword. And the sword of public opinion. It's like, hey, well, let's just put a bunch of lies out there and claim First Amendment. And we can say whatever we want. And it's like, when's that stop? And literally whatever you want. You've seen some of the idiocy out there. Palm gun, exploding microphone, hand signals. It's like, it doesn't even have to be true, and it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. And so you're just using that First Amendment as a sword. And
I mean, at this point, he's about to argue against the first. Maybe we shouldn't have the First Amendment, is almost what he's about to say. It's crazy. It's like, I like the First Amendment except when you're using it against me. Except when you're about to expose something that I might be a part of. And I don't think these theories are idiotic. I think what's more idiotic is that this guy thinks a 30-06, which could blow the head off of a moose, didn't leave an exit wound on Charlie. That's what he's saying. He says he believes the FBI narrative. Oh, he's clearly shot. Clearly shot in the neck. But that ignores all the other evidence that has been put forth by other people. Why, if he's shot in the neck, does his microphone disappear? If a bullet goes right here, why would your microphone that has a strong magnet on it just fly off? What would make it fly off? If you get shot in the neck, a bullet goes right through your neck. What's going to make your necklace, your long necklace pendant thing that you're wearing, fly way back out of your shirt? That defies physics. It defies physics. So these conspiracy theories, it's not idiocy, Brian Harpole.
And not a shield. And we gotta step back at that and look at it. I was talking to you guys earlier, and I was like, at some point you put those people in the Wayback Machine. And the Wayback Machine is you take them to 1985. And when people said something that was untrue about you or your family, and they said something bad about you that other people heard, you split their lip.
There's a consequence.
An immediate consequence, not a consequence that comes through a lawsuit 3.5 years later, an immediate consequence, so that a level of respect is gained. And then also, hey, if you do this again, I'll see you next time as well.
I mean, you know what kind of person you're dealing with here. I'm going to use brute force to shut you up. You said something I don't like. I'm going to hit you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to use physical force. Whatever he means by that. I'm going to split your lip. You're going to punch me? That's what you're going to do, Brian? You're going to punch me because I'm talking about a possible thing that could have happened? Okay. That's how you gain respect, right? Do people think that? Is that what most people think? I don't know.
At some point, some people need to be put in the Wayback Machine.
Mm-hmm. Definitely not going to disagree with you on that one. So let's talk about the immediate response. Let's get back to that. Could you tell it was gunfire?
Yes.
How could you tell?
I've been around gunfire my whole life. That's the first one. And so, and there,
And by the way, maybe it was gunfire. I'm not even saying there wasn't gunfire involved. In my opinion, I think there was a blank shot fired from the roof, possibly from a bigger caliber rifle, so that everybody would hear it and think that it was a gunshot. Because we definitely don't want people thinking it was anything else. Just a thought. I don't know if that's true. I don't know, but I'm putting these thoughts out there. That's called investigation. That's called critical thinking, which I guess Brian Harpole isn't a fan of.
and there's a different type of gunfire, right? We were at Berkeley last night, and you heard somebody decided to pop off some bunch, and they were loud, like 6-7 M80s at a time, and people started panicking and running. And one of my guys, look, I said that's not gunfire. It's a different sound. You have an attribution of sound, and so you're used to it, and having a range, and so you're around it, and you even get to like, well, that was a rifle, that's a pistol, that's a big boy rifle, that's subsonic. I mean, you can PID all those with your ear. You know, I'm no sniper, but you're out there hanging out with those guys, and you get that sniper's ear pretty quick because they say, hear that? That's what that is. And so I've got my back to Charlie about, I don't know, less than 10 meters off to his right. And my area of responsibility, we had a lot of people coming up some staircases there, and it was starting to fill in. And so I was watching that, and I remember I heard the gunfire, and then I don't know if you've heard this, but I heard that bullet slap him. And so so you hear two sounds actually, and so you hear the actual shot, and then you hear the bullet hit him in the neck, like you hear.
You hear two sounds, he said. You hear two sounds. What else would cause two sounds? Maybe two different shots. Maybe a shape charge and a shot at about the same time, perfectly timed. Everybody knows when I give the signal, the hand signal that we definitely didn't do. I don't know. What do you guys think?
You hear it. And so in my head, I had an attribution to that. Oop, I know what that is. And so I turned, and
The thing about Brian that I find fascinating is I've watched this interview several times, and the overwhelming feeling that I get from Brian is this is a we got to get out in front of this story. That's the feeling that I get from him. We got to get out in front of this, guys. We got to control the narrative, guys. He's very interested in controlling this narrative. Why?
And when I turned, started running, that's when Dan grabbed him. And I mean, this is a live fire event. It's not, everybody thinks in hindsight, well, this is a one-shot assassination. No, in our heads, there's
You
fire.
don't know what that is.
There's fire. There's more to come, right? And so Dan grabs Charlie, and then
Who's Dan?
Dan was the guy standing right next to Charlie when he got shot on the stage. And then I was to the right of Dan.
Okay.
And so he grabs him, and then I turn and see him start to the ground. But then I'm just thinking gunfire. And then he's leading to the ground because I'm on his right, where he was shot right here in the left of his neck. And so I jumped down on top of Charlie to cover him because where we're at, it's concealment at best. It's a tabling with cloth on it, so it's not hard cover. And our guys are starting piling back in, and they're down, putting a human shield around him, but it's still just concealment. It's not cover. And so I initially dove down on top of him and just was on him almost face to face. And then when I was doing that, I went down, I could see the wound. And so I immediately shoved my hand into the wound to stop the bleeding, just trying to find the pressure. And it was coming out still. And I'm on top of him, like close. And it was still coming out enough that I guess it squirted through my fingers and I could taste it on my lips. And so I was like, man, this is a bad wound.
I don't know. I don't know. I want to say something. I'm not even going to say, I want to say something. I'm not going to say it because I don't necessarily think it's a fair thing to say. So I'm not going to say it.
Right. And so I was just pushing that, and I don't know at that time. I know when you look at the clock, I was on him within 5 seconds and had my hands in him. And then I don't know when I put the first piece of medical on him. It was sometime after that. Because I carry it right here, and that's why you carry it on you. You got to have it there. So, but then I remember pulling back away and thinking, damn, this is bad. Like it's coming out. And I don't remember saying this, but the guys told me, and you can kind of see it on the video. I said, prep the car. And I just prepped, and you see the two guys just take off. And that car's prepped in position, but what I mean, doors are open, I mean, the whole deal. And so we're doing pressure control there, and it's a carotid artery, so you can't put a tourniquet on it, obviously. And in my head, I'm like, pack pressure, pray, man. These are what you can do for that wound. But then, so I'm on top, and then I told the guys, we got to exfil. We're all out here in the open. We're trying to give wound care, and we got to get off this X, right? And so, but I just said, we're exfilling. And so we got up, I think it was like 15, 16 seconds from the time the shot happened to the time we were picking him up and headed.
15 to 16 seconds.
That's what it was, yeah. And so.
That's fast.
Yeah, and this is horrible, but.
That is fast to get an initial assessment, plug a hole, pick them up, move them.
Yeah, and so it's just like, dang.
It's fast. According to Sean Ryan, it's fast. Maybe too fast. We don't know. We don't know. I don't know. Leave your comments, guys. There's a lot more to this interview. I might be back with some more videos. I don't know. This case, there's just so much to Charlie Kirk's assassination. There are so many rabbit holes. There are so many things about it that are just so odd and strange. But this interview that Brian Harpole did with Sean Ryan, I mean, so many things are said in this interview. And Sean Ryan's taken a lot of heat. If you go look at the comments on this video on Sean Ryan's YouTube page, you're going to see a lot of people just do not like Brian Harpole. And a lot of people are kind of tearing into Sean, saying you threw him all these softball questions. This guy's clearly a liar. I don't respect you, Sean, blah, blah, blah. I will say this about Sean Ryan, and I like his show. I've watched a lot of his shows. I like his show. Sean Ryan did give this guy a platform to speak for 3 hours. Just about 3 hours. So I'm grateful to Sean Ryan for doing that. because this might end up being the thing that hangs Brian Harpole, or if not him, allows the truth to come out. Time will tell. But my personal opinion, which I'm allowed to have, thanks to the First Amendment, is that there's certainly other things going on with this than what we're being led to believe. What do you guys think? Leave a comment below, subscribe, like. See you next time.